Welcome to the May 2018 installment of my report from the county legislature. I'm Onondaga County Legislator Kevin Holmquist. We had an action-packed session in May, starting out with a memorializing resolution from Dr. Peggy Chase, county legislator from the city. Memorializing resolutions are essentially resolutions that the county is urging another entity, typically the state or the state legislature, to do something, sometimes the federal government. In this case, she has one urging us to adopt the New York Health Act. For those of you that follow state government, you'll know that this is basically an advocacy for single-payer health care. Think back to like Hillary Clinton's proposal in 1994, or more recently Bernie Sanders. So obviously there's some controversy there. We did have a group of very well-spoken citizens who were advocates for this plan coming in urging us to adopt it. We ultimately tabled the memorializing resolution primarily because we had one single health committee meeting on it with less than a half an hour meeting. There was no alternatives proposed, and there was really no criteria behind it. So we decided as a group to table it. It's going to go to committee and we'll discuss it. I'm not a big fan of memorializing resolutions as a rule. They're urging other governments to do stuff. We have plenty to do in county government, so we'll move on to county business here. The first item was a room occupancy tax request for $150,000. The county legislature is responsible for distributing room occupancy tax, which is room tax fees for hotel room stays. And our methodology is to use that money to drive what we call heads on beds, people that come into the community. This is for the United States Bowling Congress this year, which generates tens of millions of dollars. I'm sure you've all seen bowlers all around the region. It's really exciting. They've taken over the On Center. So this $150,000 is a critical support. One of the distributions that we use to support the effort. So that's really driving a lot of the economic development this summer. So very proud of that. We had a couple of confirmations too, appointments to the Onondaga County Justice Center Oversight Committee. From my point of view, this committee is very important to keep the county out of hot water. They work very closely with the Sheriff's Department to make sure that the issues that happen in the Justice Center don't turn into lawsuits. And they've been great, proactive, so we've got some good members, Carlton Strail, Nicholas Paro, and Cassandra Jones-Ingram that we appointed. So looking forward to good work there. Also, we had additional appointments of James Jordan and Mike LaFleur to the Onondaga County Civic Development Corporation. And they drive lots of projects throughout the county for economic development, which is really critical. We also had something that I think is one of the most important aspects of the county legislature. If you look at the charter, one of the reasons the county exists is to provide roads, county roads, maintenance, and make sure that we have a strong infrastructure. So this year we had our annual road paving plan, the hot mix and the cold mix plan for our highways. We are very adamant about making sure we're on top of it. I pay close attention to the condition of county roads relative to other roads to make sure that we're ahead of the curve. I think generally speaking, we're significantly ahead of certainly state roads and city roads, and we can always do better, but one of our critical roles in the legislature is to make sure it's properly funded. And we have a very good plan this year, lots of construction projects and paving that you'll see. Finally, probably the most exciting issue, surprisingly, on our agenda was the amendment of Rule 8 to the county legislative rules. Normally it would be an administrative change, but basically Rule number 8 provides that the county law department will approve any legislation that a legislator wants to forward. So the county law department reports to the county executive. County legislators can forward laws at any time, but we have to go to the law department and get their approval for legal form. Historically, that's never been a problem. With Nick Pirro as county executive, it was never a problem. Increasingly, in recent years, it's become a significant problem to multiple legislators, myself included. I've asked the county law department to draw up legislation to forward, and they wouldn't approve my laws because they said it wasn't legal and they weren't giving me proper alternatives. And this happened to many other legislators too. So we as a group in the legislature decided to amend Rule number 8. It passed unanimously, 17-0. All the Democrats, all the Republicans. It makes sense that the county legislature is entitled to our own legal representation. The county executive, in I think a very Trumpian way, tweeted out objections before, during, and after. None of us really understand it. She's very adamant. Apparently she's going to veto this. It makes no sense. We're proud that the county legislature stood strong. It's going to make a big impact in upcoming legislation. I know we'll hear a lot about this coming forward, but the reality is this is only by exception. Normally the law department provides very fine service to the county legislature, but from time to time we need independent legal advice. And this is something we feel very strongly about. Obviously it passed unanimously. I think it's going to bode very well for the future when these circumstances arise. Again, lots happening on our agenda. If you need more information on anything happening in the county legislature or in this session's agenda, you can go to kevinholmquist.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'm Onondaga County Legislator Kevin Holmquist.